To me, both of these topics, general parenting as well as the parenting of the adolescent children, fundamentally important. The first that I promise that I will be saying is, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change the fate or position or status of a community until they change what in themselves. To me, this verse has got many, many wide meanings, but I take this as a way of changing our position in our community, in our ummah, in the different nations that we live in. And this changing status, internal status of our community, that can only come when the younger generation of that community, of that people, are as energetic as Prophet ﷺ found in his time. If the young people are energetic, obviously there are elderly people like me, we have got experience, we cannot say that we have more wisdom. Wisdom is something that given by Allah and it has to be acquired. So many elderly people like me may not have that wisdom in life, but we have experiences. So the experiences of people in our generation, I was young as well, but we are now old, and the energy and dynamism, creativity of people of younger generation, if they together blend, that creates this synergy, a unison, and the community naturally progresses. And that's what we have seen during Prophet ﷺ's life. He was given the prophethood. He wanted from his heart and mind that the leaders of Makkah, Quraysh at that time, accepted Islam. Obviously, because if the leaders accept Islam, that becomes easier for the society to change. But that was not the divine wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most, if not all, Quraysh leaders did not accept Islam, including his own uncle Abu Lahab, including the leaders, Utbah, Shaiba, and all sorts of people. To the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Surah Abasa when he was talking to the leaders to bring them into Islam. And he was just ignoring one of the blind companions. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the surah. There must be some divine wisdom in it. And at the end of the day, what he got was either slaves or young people. Umar and all the companions were very, very young at the time. Abu Bakr was the oldest of the Sahaba, apart from Khadija radiallahu anha. He was 2.5 years younger than Prophet ﷺ. So, through the younger generation, Prophet ﷺ was able to transform a society which was barbaric, which was inhuman in many aspects. They used to kill their own daughters and bury them alive. He converted or transformed that society into the leader of humanity, teacher of humanity, created those who created civilization at the end. So it is in that spirit I deal with young people because they can make or break of a society. I'm not saying undermining myself or elderly generation, but young people can make or break of a society. If they indulge in all sorts of negative things, bad things, then they will be destroyed and the community will be destroyed. But if they make themselves, then they will recreate society, our civilization. And also there is a religious imperative in this. One is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in another verse, Qu anfusakum ahlikum nara. You save yourselves and your ahl from the hellfire. Save means you become good Muslim with iman, with amal, and with knowledge. And once you are there, simultaneously you try to raise your children and ahl, convince your family, and then neighborhood, then the community. Ahl means people near you. That's the Prophet ﷺ, when he started Nubuwah, he first tried to convince his very close friends, Abu Bakr, Uthman, and all these famous companions, those who were his close friends. But before that, Khadija radiallahu anha, Ali radiallahu anhu. So, and he invited all his Quraysh people, Bani Hashim, to convince them to accept Islam. So it starts from oneself first, it starts with the near people, and it gradually expands. So that means our children, when Allah blesses us with any child, they are the first target of our mission of Islam. When I say first target, because they are born in us, they are our flesh and blood. If we can look after them physically, as moms do when children are in the tummy, and if we can look after them for 2-3 years, you know how much of struggle the moms and many fathers also do, then why can't we do the same thing to raise them up as Muslim, good Muslim, as good human beings? Good Muslims will definitely be good human beings, and also as good citizens in any country where we live. So these three things are simultaneous. So that means it's imperative on parents who are blessed with a child or with children to invest their time on the children. This is the best, noblest, and the most successful investment a human being can invest in. Clever are those and wise people are those who invest for future. Okay, everybody knows this. And invest in the thing that will bring the profit. And what else can bring more profit than in the investment of their own children? There's a beautiful hadith that the deeds of Bani Adam, that means children of Adam, that means human beings, will be cut off when they have their last breath, that means when they die, except three things. What are they? One is the sadaqah jariyah, that means the charity that continues. Give money to the orphanage, for education, anything that brings good. Plant a tree that gives fruit. All sorts of charities. This charity will be counted until the end of the day comes, until the Qiyamah comes, without diminishing the reward from individuals who perform later on. Second one is the ilm or knowledge that benefits people, ilm al-nafiya. If we educate some people, including our own children, of course, educate people around the world, and whatever good deeds they do, that will keep on piling on us after our death. And the third and the most important thing is, if we can leave righteous children, that means children with iman, with amal, those who do continuously keep on doing good things, as well as after our death, they pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayani sagira. All this dua will go to the one who has already been deceased. So if these three things are not the most important investment, what is the most important investment in our life? Because the money that we earn, the buildings that we leave, the bank balance that we leave behind, nothing is going to go with us in our grave. So that's the most clever and wisest investment in human life. Here comes the importance of parenting. In England, a country where Muslims have settled long ago, at least compared to probably Australian Muslims, as far as I can see. There are nearly 3 million Muslims coming from all corners of the world. It's a microcosm of the whole Muslim world. In London, where I live, there are 300 languages spoken in London alone. And Muslims are from most of the languages, because they come from Papua Guinea to Guyana to Bangladesh and all sorts of countries. Same faith, same belief, coming from different languages, culture, ethnicity, and all sorts of backgrounds. So the community settled there long ago. Now is what is happening, we are getting either the fruits of it, good fruits of it, or some bad fruits of it. In the sense, some of our young people, and now few generations, are going astray. Lapsed Muslim, you know, understand, lapsed means forgetful Muslims. And they live a dual life, some of them, not all. Dual life means at home, they pretend to be good Muslims, pretend to be following their mom and dad. When they mix with the wider society in their professional and universities, they behave exactly as others do. That's one section. Another section, fill up British prisons with disproportionate numbers. Muslim population is around 4.8%, and some say 5%, which is a big number compared to Australia, but it's not too big. Less than 1/20th of British citizens are Muslims. You know the prison population in Britain, France, Belgium, Netherlands, different European countries? 3 to 4 times of their proportion. In British prison, there are 13 to 14% of prisoners in Britain are from the Muslim community. In France, more than that. In Belgium, Netherlands, more proportion. Simultaneously, on the other side, Muslims are very good in certain professions. There are probably few medicine practitioners. Muslims also represent proportionately high in the medical profession. 4.8% Muslim, 10 to 12% of doctors, nurses, and these people are from Muslim community. So we are proud on certain areas, we are not proud on certain areas. Why? There could be many other factors. Materialistic life, individualistic life, temptation of the world, and absolute sexual permissiveness, sexual mayhem in the modern developed society. Pornography, eroticism also, they attract people, young people more. So that's one area. The other area, there is discrimination, of course. And the most important to me, as a father, is there is a lack of proper parenting at home. When I say proper, lack of proper, it's poor parenting. Many parents may be educated, may be highly ambitious. The way they raise their children is not good enough. Initially, of course, every parent wants his or her child to become a successful person on earth. Good school, many go to private schools, Islamic schools. Some of the parents abdicate their parental responsibility at home. They send their children to mosque schools, Saturday or evening schools. They send their children to day school. There are 150 plus day schools in England. Proportion-wise, it's not that many. It's only 2 to 3% Muslim children are educated, full-time education in Muslim schools. But even then, they just dump their children to these schools, that the schools will look after them. At the end of the day, children are born with mom and dad. If they abdicate their responsibility, this means forget or doesn't perform properly, then it's not going to help them. Because parenting is a 24/7 responsibility. That means it's a full-time job. In the nursery or in the school, children spend 6 to 7 hours a day. Out of 168 hours in a week, and then there are holidays, 35 to 40 hours in a day out of 168 hours. Who is going to look after the rest of the time? It's the mom and dad. Especially when children are born, when children enter into the phase of adolescence, that means the most challenging period in human life. If parents are not available to guide them, befriend them, look after them, then there is a high probability, I'm not saying it will happen, there is a high possibility that children will grow up with not enough knowledge about Islam, with skewed knowledge or distorted knowledge of Islam, and also with the practice that they cannot sustain their religion in their future life. So parenting starts, in fact, before a child is born. I would rather say parenting starts when two young men and women want a spouse, husband and wife. That's the moment parenting starts. That means a good Muslim man will always look for a good Muslim woman as their spouse. A good Muslim woman will always look for a good Muslim man. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that the good men and good women, they are friends. Khabis men and khabis women are together. So if the husband and wife are good Muslims, so they will think the moment a child is conceived, parenting starts, the genuine parenting will start from there. Because mom's lifestyle, mother's lifestyle during the pregnancy is fundamentally important. The way they think, their healthy physical health, intellectual and emotional health helps. And by the time a child grows into 7 or 8 months in mother's tummy, children can communicate with the mom. Mothers can communicate with the child. And if the mother recites Quran, does positive thinking, that will have an spiritual impact on the baby in the womb. And when a child is born, there's adhan and ikama, there's a sweet in the mouth, there's a sunnah with date. All these things are arranged for a Muslim child to grow as a Muslim man or woman. Everything is given in Islam. And that's the advice. Until the age of 7, a child should not be coerced, should not be forced to learn anything. There is no force or imposition of mother's and father's will on a child, especially before the age of 7, because that's the most vulnerable period. You let child grow through play and enjoyment. Through that, you give the child whatever needed, the love of Allah, the recitation of the Quran. And I have a granddaughter, one granddaughter, 2.5, 4 months. She prays with the mom, she prays with the dad, she makes dua, and I think your children, you can observe. If you pray at home, your child will automatically follow, will sometimes stand in the prayer, will make sound, will make dua. You don't have to teach anything. But children are the best copier on earth. They can copy, they imitate, they see things around them. Their brain is like a sponge. Everything is being attracted in that sponge. Whatever they see, whatever they hear. If the mother and father are talking lovingly around this child, the brain will pick up. If mother and father shouts in front of child, maybe baby, maybe tiny toddler, that will impact on their brain. Okay? Because if you keep a sponge in the milk and squeeze it, milk will come out. If you put it in the water and squeeze it, water will come out. So whatever we do around a child during the formative period, that is embedded in their subconsciousness. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all children as innocent. And there's a hadith that children are born in fitra, means Islam. Their parents make them Jews, Christians, or whatever. So home is the nursery. There is a nursery outside, but home is the best nursery. Home is the school, and home is the university. Because if the relationship develops between child and the parent, then a child will always consult, will always seek advice before getting married, before getting any job, before doing anything. Especially the loving relationship between a child and mom. That umbilical cord is cut off after the child is born, but emotional and spiritual umbilical cord always there as long as mother is alive. So mother's role is fundamentally important and superior in the early age of children's formation. In fact, mothers are the leaders in that sense. Because leaders create vision in a community, in a nation, in the followers. Leaders lead. Mothers give vision to the children. Small child, beautiful vision of the wonderful world of how a child should grow else. And we have seen in Islam history, fathers passed away because of jihad or whatever reason. Many mothers raised the children. And they became the imams. They became the mujahid. They became the mujaddid. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given 3 times more right to mothers than the fathers. We all know this. So parenting, I'm not saying it's only mom's responsibility, it's a dual responsibility. Okay? Because mother and father together, they are jawz. Wa khalaqnakum azwaja. We are pairs. Men and women are the pair. Allah Ta'ala has created left hand, right hand, this and that, day and night. These are pairs. One is not better than the other. At the end of the day, taqwa will decide who is better. Not being a man or woman. Not being a good professional or bad professionals. At the end of the day, it's taqwa. So if father and mother work together in harmony, especially in the Western developed society where life is struggle, full of struggle, and maybe one parent income is not enough to maintain a family, mothers probably have to work, or fathers, we have to share this responsibility. But at the end of the day, mother and father as a unit, they should plan how to raise, who spends how much time, who teaches, who takes out. It has to be shared responsibility. If this sharing is missing, one parent is overburdened for whatever reason, then that might have negative effect. And in the Muslim societies, when there is extended family, there are people around to help. In the developed modern society, that facility may not be there for many people. Because we are segregated from our home countries, many of us, apart from those who are born and brought up in a country, or those who have got quite a few extended family members. So it's the mother and father's dual responsibility. In the Muslim countries, in the developing countries, everybody looks after it. I was born in a village in Bangladesh. Everybody knew me. So if I picked up somebody's crop or did any misdeed, some village uncle or auntie will come and hold my hand. Why have you done this? I know your father. I'm taking you to your father. So there is a communal parenting in the tribal society or in the rural society. In the developed society, everybody is individualist. Nobody knows about another. And that individualism, me culture, that means I am, rather than we, that has been embedded in the post-industrial society and post-modern society. Everybody knows better in this society. We have got our companions in the form of mobiles, our computers. We are busy with our own small friends in the screen. Twitter, Facebook, this and that. People are becoming unsocial. People are crossing road, traffic passing, people are crossing road, even then they have to look at the computer, mobile screen. It is so important. Before prayer, people watch the mobile, and after prayer, after salam, I have seen people in that. And to the extent that there is a joke that one was praying, and somebody called, and he said, "Okay, stay for a while, I'm praying." This is laughing, but this has taken over human life nowadays. Living under the same roof, mom and dad doesn't get enough time to talk with the children. Children do not get enough time to talk with their parents. So all these are product of technology. But technology should be our servant. Technology should not be our master. If we do not know how to ride the beast will ride on us. That's what is happening in many cases. And that's why online grooming is happening, sexual grooming and extremism growing. Everything is happening online. No imam of sensible knowledge will advise young men or women to be bad or go to Syria and fight. I haven't seen that, I haven't heard anything. Where do they get this information? These girls, I know about the 3 girls that left from one of these schools in Tower Hamlets in East London, 2 Bengali and 1 Eritrean girl. They ran away a couple of years ago. Where did they get this information from? Who were convincing them? Who were grooming them? It was the online, because in the online there are websites, there are all sorts of things. You can go into the website that teaches Quran, fiqh, hadith. You can go to the website that will take you to the world of pornography and extremism. So we have to watch out the modern technology, which should be our servant, not our masters. And that should be done at home. Mothers, fathers, they should be the best psychologists. By seeing the face of their child, beloved child, they should be able to read what is happening in their mind. And mothers normally can pick up by seeing the face of their child when they come from school or from outside. Fathers should also be able to do this. If they can pick up these information and they have loving relationship, they can straight away talk, and children will definitely talk. So I'm just giving the general some information background and my passion on parenting. And for the last couple of decades, I have been working on this. I have devised my own course. And in that course, I have brought in 5 elements. And just for information, there are 5 things that we must do as parents. From the moment a child is born to the moment we are sure that the child is safe, alhamdulillah. Including even finding a spouse for them and finding a job for them. I'm not saying that you find a job for them. They will keep an eye on them. Okay? Otherwise, children in their adolescence period or early adult period, they can make mistakes. And that I will discuss in the second part of my talk, inshallah. The 5 components of the parenting program that I run, 15 hours program, is one of them is looking after a child's overall and balanced development and growth from the time they are born to at least adolescence. Balanced and development. Balanced growth and development. And in that comes 4 and 5 elements. One is looking after the child's physical aspect, physical fitness. Good food, cleanliness, not junk food, exercise, not eating too much. You know, in America and in Europe, children are getting fat. I don't know about Australia, I cannot comment that much. So balanced growth and development of a child is fundamentally important. Physical, and also the child's mental progress and development, and normally doctors help in the Western society. Emotional balance, that means one is not over-emotional or one is not less emotional, because anger, love, envy, happiness, these are embedded in our heart. Our intellect, that's the abode of our intellect, the head. And the abode or the home of our emotion and feelings are in our heart. We have to have a balance between the head and heart. We have to raise our children with a balanced head and heart. And then there is spiritual aspect. That means we have to give them the love for Allah, love for human creation, human beings and other creation, so that relationship with Allah becomes really, really loving. It's not mechanical relationship. Loving relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's a 5th element is we have to give them social skills so that they can live as balanced human beings in the society. They know how to talk, they know how to face an interview, they know how to help others. These are all social skills and life skills. That's one. Number 2 is the relationship. Relationship with mom and dad in the early period of a child is obviously excellent because child is dependent on the mother and father, and the little child's beautiful smile and things, they are magnetic. A child has a magnetic persona. Everybody loves the child. But is this love or relationship going to continue when the child grows up, becomes adolescent, becomes naughtier, learns some bad things from the society, from the TV, abusive word, rebellion, all sorts of things? That depends on continuation of this loving relationship. Third aspect is positive discipline. Children will grow as good and bad, with a mixture of good and bad. We all have good and bad thing in our life. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. We have got the bad intentions within us, we have got the good intentions. That's the test. We are not angels, we are not devil. So we are tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all these good things and bad things. Are we tempted towards good things in the way that we do bad things later on? Or are we influenced by our bad tendencies in our envy and all sorts of negative things in our life? We have to control or minimize the negative things, which is part of our life. We have to strengthen our positive things. So child will become naughty, will become rebellious, will behave badly with his or her own siblings, and will learn all sorts of things. We must know the technique of disciplining them. Disciplining is not punishing them, physically beating them, shouting at them. That's not discipline, that's punishment. Punishment doesn't work for a child, especially in a society where beating is also forbidden. I don't know whether physical punishment is forbidden in this country, but in Britain it's not forbidden, but totally disliked. And especially there are some child protection issues. If you touch your own child in a hard way, there is a mark in it, and the child reports or a teacher says that could be a child protection issue, it could be prosecuted. I think this is probably common in most developed countries. We have to be careful with our own children as well. So discipline, positive discipline. Fourth thing is, we have to raise our children along with the others. We are not isolated islands. We cannot make our child Nobel laureate on our own. So a child depends on the society, on the community, on the family. So we have to help the wider community, wider neighborhood, and the extended family. That's why Ku anfusakum ahlikum nar. That's essential. So we have to make our young people community-oriented, so that they do not become self-centered, they do not become selfish. They help others when others are in distress. Help the shopkeepers or the frail man in the street. Give a seat in the bus or train. These are human qualities, and that has to be given at home. And the fifth one is giving them culture, identity, and Islam in our case. If they are non-Muslim, they will give their own culture. So these are the 5 elements, and these are good for us as well. If we become good, confident, knowledgeable parents, parenting is a joy. We find the joyousness of parenting. Children grow, they become married, they become grandparents, loving, wonderful family life. It may not be rich, but at the end of the day, richness comes from loving relationship, caring relationship in the family, within the family. And we have seen that many people, wonderfully successful child on earth, millions and millions in the bank, they are unhappy. In the developed societies, that's why suicide rate is higher than in the poorer societies. So at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, I would like to conclude this part of my talk with this simple message, that if we invest our time, energy, our feeling and emotion and love on our own children, who is our flesh and blood, then in this earth, we may not be that rich, but we will live in peace and harmony. And at the end of the day, we will gain, which is unthinkable. Our sins and our shortcomings will be apparent in the day of judgment. And blessed will be those parents who will see that they have shortage in their reward, sawab, but something is being piled up. So the sadaqah jariyah, ilm nafiya, and waladun saleh, and they will be hopefully, inshallah, put in the Jannah. What else can be the best reward for us in this earth and in the day of judgment? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us understand the importance of parenting, and also make us fit as parents to raise our children in the way that they become helpful to us when we die. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us to make this dua. Rabbana hab lana min azwajina wa dhurriyyatina qurrata a'yun waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. Wa ma tawfiq illa billah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can we continue the second one? Or? What do you suggest, brothers, sisters? Because I feel that if we break now and go for eating and we'll become tired and some people will leave, I'll take only 10-15 minutes to give a sort of overview on adolescents, teenage children's aspect. Up to you. I'll leave this with you.
Continue? Okay. Probably you can take some questions as
well. Towards the end, then I'll take some questions or contribution or comments, inshallah. Okay, Jazakumullah khair. It becomes easier because I don't have to start again. I mentioned quite a few things about the young people. And although brother has introduced me as, I have been a physicist all my life, honors, masters, PhD, postdoc, but I came into the world of community works because I felt that probably I had something to learn as well as contribute. And the whole life has been learning. And one of the most interesting phase of learning is to work with young people. And I was blessed that I was a secondary school teacher. I finished all these research, publications, etc., but I became a secondary science teacher. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought me into the world of difficult children. Children with learning difficulty, children with behavior difficulty. It's called special educational needs. I know Australia is quite good in this. I had colleagues of Australian and South African origin. Children with behavior difficulty, autism and all sorts of things. But my specialty was dealing with children with behavior problems. You know, behavior means suddenly becomes angry, sometimes hit another child, and be abusive with their own parents, maybe. It's not easy. And they are teenage, mostly. Secondary means from 11 to 16. That's the statutory education age. But before that, because I was a teacher for 5-6 years, and I will see that anyone who becomes a secondary teacher in the Western developed countries, where many children are disruptive and also come with behavior, they learn some qualities. They learn something. And I survived in this 5-6 years science teaching in the classroom. You teach 30-40% of your subject, physics, chemistry, biology. Most of the time you spend how to manage your class, okay? So that this one doesn't make a noise, this boy doesn't fight, this girl doesn't do these things. In the classroom, that's a real test of your leadership skill. That's why I say that moms are the best leaders, because moms raise up 3-4 children. So I've got 4 children, alhamdulillah. And they are grown up now. I have seen in my own eyes how my wife raised, mostly she did it. Unique. Salutation to all the mothers who do this. So I learned some of these skills from my professional background, professional work, to deal with the difficult children. My job was to keep the most difficult children who would be excluded from schools, their education will be gone. So keeping a child in the classroom whose attention speed probably is 5 minutes only, after 5 minutes will start making noise, will chatting things through papers on one another, all these things. So this was a new experience. I'm saying this because these are the nature of young people. Some people do it more, some people do it less. There's a beautiful story in one of the South Asian context. Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Rahimahullah, probably some of you have heard his name. He was famous. He had many disciples. One day his disciple said, Ustad, can I bring my teenage son and introduce him with you? So he brought his teenage son on the following day, and he asked the boy to sit in the corner of the mosque, and he met the Imam, Ashraf Ali Thanvi, and said that, Huzur, that means Ustad, can you make dua for my son? And Ashraf Ali Thanvi made a joke of that. He said, who is your son? He said, he's sitting there. I think some old man is sitting there. He is not a young man. Then the disciple was very surprised. He said, why do you say this, Ustad? He said, if he was a young man, teenage man, he would have run around, break some things. I would have thought that he is a young man. Now he's sitting like an old man. So you're asking me to advise him. Does he need advice? So it's the nature of young people to make or break. Mostly, they will try to break. I was a young man. I was hyperactive in my life. I remember some of the things. Some of the things my parents told me. That one of the village uncles used to tell that my father, that your son probably will become mad. Where I used to jump up mango trees and berry trees, fell down, became unconscious, broke my leg. That was my nature. So I'm proud that I was hyperactive, alhamdulillah. And so if you have a hyperactive young boy or girl, don't be daunted, don't become afraid or scared, because that's the sign of energy. I always say to parents in the parenting sessions, I have run dozens, that if your son or daughter is a bit rude with you, but talks and argues with you, he or she is far better than a son or daughter who doesn't talk, who closes the door and do things on his or her own. Mother and father doesn't know. Because through my job, I have to visit these houses, families. And I can confidently say that I succeeded in keeping most of the children, those who are naughty and those who are talkative, those who are chatty, those who are argumentative, but I couldn't succeed with a few, those whose lips were tight. They wouldn't talk to their mom and dad, they would not answer any questions, or yes, no, that answer. They will close the door in their own home, and imagine if the child has got a computer. Nowadays it's a mobile phone. Who knows what he sees or does in his own room. So please do not be afraid if your son or daughter is growing up with a bit of rudeness. I'm not saying they should be rude, but I'm saying they are better than the one who keeps quiet. I'm not saying everybody who keeps quiet is bad, so don't misunderstand me. I'm just comparing things. Okay, children are brimming with energy. They have got energy. That's the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's nature. And adolescence is an age where all the energy rushes in. There are a few doctors I can see. They will probably know better than it. There is a biological change. Biological clock changes when adolescence comes, especially it's called puberty. Adolescence has got puberty, social element, and other element. Puberty, a boy and girl gets the physical ability to become a father and mother. You know, that means there are sexual attractions, obviously. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this attraction in this period, which probably is unthinkable. And without that, human progeny will be destroyed. So everything has a purpose. But in a permissive society, liberal society, this is uncontrolled. Marriage is virtually being wiped out from developed countries, technologically developed countries. People live as it is a normal. Boyfriend and girlfriend are like husband and wives. They have their children before marriage, and afterwards, after 3-4 children, some just for ritual thing get married. In Islam, premarital, postmarital relationship without one's own spouse is completely forbidden. In the modern society, I'm not saying Western society, in the modern society, this is normal. In the past, these were called living in sin. Now, you cannot even call this. That's a normal life. So family has, from extended family to the nuclear family to the, what's that called, blended family, means men and women change partners. My wife is a nursery nurse, and she used to tell me stories about her colleagues, some of them. One of her colleagues, a woman, had 6 children with 6 different fathers. Now what happens? There is an implication of that. Say, a woman normally shifts with their child into another man's house. Then that woman may have a daughter growing up, will have a stepfather, stepbrothers, and others. There is a child abuse, incest in the developed society. So I'm saying this because this is the phase of human life where this attraction between opposite sex, opposite genders is all powerful. Then there's a creativity in them. They become strong physically, want to build muscles, especially boys, and there are all sorts of elements in there. They want to change the world because they see there's injustice going on, so they want to change the world for good or for bad. And those who go for, say, bad things in the society, or extremism, or go for Syria to fight, I think some of them probably go with good intention. Allah knows best. They want to change the world. We want to change the world. There's so much of injustice, political suffering, and all sorts of things. People's blood boils. Sometimes our blood boils. Why is it that our ummah is in such a state? So we have to do something. And if they don't have proper knowledge, if there is no proper parenting, if there is no proper guide and mentor, then there is a possibility they will be misguided by others. And it's in this phase that normally children are misguided. So I'll just say a few things on the teenage features. One is their identity and self-esteem. There is a serious problem Muslims are normally coming from the developing countries. Our countries back at home is being ruined by our leaders who are incompetent, corrupt, and despotic. All these things affect us, and young people around us, our own young children, they feel, what's happening with Islam? That means our religion is not probably best. So they feel a crisis of their identity. They feel vulnerable, and others taunt them. There is racism, Islamophobia, all sorts of things happen. So this self-confidence is lowered, especially normally low among the young people. And without self-confidence and self-esteem, one cannot maintain balance. That, okay, we are facing this problem, but we have to address these problems in the right way, in the civil way, religious way, the way Prophet ﷺ has taught us. If one knowledge is small, is very low, then fighting this injustice, fighting the challenge can take a different shape. So this self-esteem, self-confidence is fundamentally important. And if we can give these qualities at home with a discussion, with family session, one-to-one session, discussing all the issues openly and publicly, according to the ability of their understanding, then they will realize that although this is going in a bad way, there is future. Okay? There is future if we follow the true path of Islam. Children have got energy, adventure. We want to advance. When I was in Shillong University was in a hill area, mountainous area. Dozens of us sometimes went up and compete who can go to the top of the hill. Because this is nature. I will not do it at my life, probably, or many people don't do it, but that was fun for us, taking the risk in life. Idealism I mentioned, there's passion for doing something. Impatience if something is not done. They want short answer at short time. Naturally, they want to challenge the establishment, fight with the police, or argument with someone. Individuals and independence. This is my body, so I have control over my body. I do whatever I want. Okay, that's the me culture. Lifestyle and fashion. In Britain and many other countries, young people do their hairstyle, write their names in it, and also boys start in their ears. Girls wearing different clothes. Where do they come from? They follow certain role models, film stars, football stars, or all sorts of things. If mom and dad become role models, they will not have to follow the other people in the street. Because at that time, because their confidence is weak, their personality is weak, they try to imitate others. If they can see good examples around them, they will follow these good people rather than following bad people. Normally, they are weak in knowledge, and knowledge of balanced knowledge. So Islam is the wasatiyah. That means this extreme and this extreme is out of Islam. Islam has a middle ground, middle path. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Ummah wasata, middle path. Middle path is not one thin straight line. Middle path there are many things in it. There are many differences of opinion within the middle path. There's a madhab, there is this and that. All are in the middle path. Apart from extreme liberals who doesn't even realize that Islam is there, and extreme extremists who thinks everything is haram. That's the takfiri group. Or now those who are fighting in the name of Islam, but they're killing people. Islam has got the wasatiyah model. So, and the teenage issues, there are many other issues. They face Islamophobia, racism, and all sorts of things. How do we deal with them? One is building personal relationship with our own child. Through regular quality time. We have to give one-to-one time, quality time, family time. We have to observe their growth keenly. As I said, a mom and dad should be able to see the face and understand what is going on in their mind, in children's mind. Be sensitive. Don't shout if they make a mistake. Be patient and be empathetic. Imagine you were born in this society, in this country. What would I have done? Okay? Sometimes we try to criticize our own children, but imagine if I were in that situation. Be open and transparent, honest. Deal according to their maturity of age as well as understanding. Involve them in the family. Make them work, do the family chores, small family work, help each other. They will feel part of the family. Involve them in the mosque and community. And tackle sensitive issues like sex, relationship at home before they learn bad things in the society or in the school or in different places or in the television. Discuss this positively with sensitivity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has discussed some of the aspect in the Quran. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاهُ فِي نُطْفَةً فِي قَرَارٍ مَكِينٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has discussed some of the way human beings are created in the mother's womb. If Allah can discuss things, why can't we discuss things in a sensitive manner? That means we have to be open and discuss. When children go into the marriageable age, discuss about that marriage. How to choose a partner in life. Then, if parents are role model, give them undiluted love, give them personal space, don't squeeze them, don't become too rigid, don't become too lenient. Give them healthy competition. Give them small work so that they succeed. Don't give them hard work so that they fail. Because if they succeed in doing small works, you can praise them, you can hug them. That's the wasila of bringing them closer to you. Decent recreation, because children need recreation. If you don't give them a decent one, they will find something else. They will play with their own smartphones. Give them high expectation. You need to succeed, you need to do this, all sorts of things. Serve humanity and all sorts of make things exciting for them. Children like excitements. Give them the true identity as, say, Muslim of Bangladeshi or Egyptian origin or Australian citizenship. So these multiple identities, we all have multiple identities. I'm a teacher, I'm a man, I was a physicist, I'm a British citizen, I'm a Bangladeshi. These are multiple identities. So all these, if we can give them with love, care, with time, within the family, by one-to-one, then my belief is children will really, really become our source of coolness, tranquility of our mind and as well as our heart. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in raising our children to become the pillars of change in the society that we live in. Because their culture, their language, their accent is with, like the people of this country, they will be able to make friendship with others and they will be able to give message of Islam to them better than we are able to do. The best answer to me is don't give them too much advice. Really, I mean it. Because the more you give them advice, the more they will become annoyed. Naturally, say, if I get too much advice from, even as an adult, if I get too much advice from someone of my age, I don't like it. Children are children. And the best example is the thing that you do, they observe and they follow. There is a need for occasional advice. Occasional. That means probably once a week or once a month or depending on their ability to understand. And if good things happen at home, children are really, really cleverer than us because they have got sharp memory. They will follow. And they will see that role modeling in the parents. And then occasionally you advise the way Luqman alayhi salam advised his own son. So it depends on your relationship, on the family environment, on the nature of your child. Every situation is different. Human science is different than mathematical science. 2 plus 2 makes 4. This is not the situation in a family situation. Something may work better for you, for other family it may not work. So the ground rule to me is let us try to be role models and let us try to advise them as less as possible. And just observe, and if they make major mistakes, then of course we have to. But I have seen that parents have the general tendency to advise, keep on advising. To me, this is counterproductive. And some children really get really annoyed, genuinely annoyed. So ground rule is don't advise them too much.
Any more questions?
I think second one is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned some of the dua. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned many dua for the children. The best thing a parent can give to a child is akhlaq. And that akhlaq is also they learn from parents. When a child sees how the mom and dad behaves, not only within the family, outside the family, you don't have to teach them that do this. They will automatically follow this. And that's the human tendency. In a way, that's also modeling. So dua comes from our heart. So if you don't know the Arabic dua in the form of Quran and Hadith, then we can make it Bengali or any language that we speak. Okay, the first one was about, I suddenly forgot, what was the first one?
When they're not talking.
Okay, when they're not talking. When they're not talking, it could be, I'm not saying that they must talk, because not all children talk in the same manner, okay? Some people talk lowest, some people talk more. I have got 4 children, I have got 4 different qualities. My second son, who is a medicine doctor now, I had to struggle for him to talk with me. And if I want to hug him, he feel that is something else. But the youngest one, he will come and jump on me, and it's the human nature. But there should be minimum amount of communication between a child and the parent, both mom and both dad. Maybe a child will talk more with the father. Maybe a child will talk more with the mom. What you have to do is to create an environment for them to talk. You ask question, not in an intrusive manner. So what happened? So what happened? What have we done in the school? Is there anything funny that you saw in the street? And they will talk, definitely. They'll have to answer. They may be annoyed. Then they ask the added question. Okay, what happened then? Okay, mom, I saw something funny and it was really funny. Then you laugh. So you become part of the conversation. Listening is one of the most important leadership qualities. Listening is also one of the most important parental qualities. So we probe a question, throw with something. They talk and we show interest, they will talk, hopefully, inshallah. And obviously there will be difference in human being. There will be someone who is going to be talkative and someone who will not be talk that much. But if there is a minimum amount that you are happy with, that's fine, alhamdulillah. One is the fundamental religious dimension. What does Quran say? What does Prophet ﷺ has said? What have the first 3 generations mentioned by Prophet ﷺ? Khairul Quruni Karni, thumma alladhina yalunahum, thumma alladhina yalunahum. That means the best of the generation is the Sahaba's generation, then the Tabi'i generation, those who follow Sahabi, and the Tabi'i generation. What did they do? There was an extremism during the time of Sahaba, especially Kharijites. Okay, we know this. That's in the history, and they created sort of bloodshed in at that time. What did the mainstream Sahaba did, including Ali radiallahu anhu, Abdul ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu? They didn't go or fight violence with violence. They killed. They wanted to kill 3 people. Ali radiallahu anhu. No. Ali radiallahu anhu, and then Amr ibn As, and was the governor of Syria, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. Because they were unhappy with 3 of them. And they planned simultaneously to kill 3 of them. They succeeded only with Ali radiallahu anhu, but they couldn't kill these 2 other companions. Abdul ibn Abbas and mainstream Sahaba went to their headquarters, discussed with them, and reconverted many of them. Abdul ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu was the best in bringing back many of the Kharijites. That was the test. Muslims succeeded. Kharijites means they were out of Islam in that sense. It's very difficult for us to say that those who are extremists, they are out of Islam. We cannot say that, we shouldn't say this. But the religious practice is La taglu fi dinikum. There is no extremism in religion. We may have extreme ideas in our brain, occasionally comes up, okay? But that's within us. Until and unless they are translated into action, nobody is extreme. So one is address this theologically, and that can only be done by the mosques. And parents, those who have got religious knowledge. I haven't mentioned one of the aspects. Parents have to be educated. I'm not saying they have to be educated through university degrees. Education doesn't mean university degree. If someone knows the basics of Islam, the fard, the halal, haram, sunnah, nafal, which are fundamentals, which are secondary, which are tertiary, parents can give them the basic knowledge. And children can learn other things from the imams, reputable imams, from the mosque pulpit. Our mosque pulpit should give them the message. But unfortunately, many of the mosques do not give this message. Because they are not, they are unwilling, because they don't have the ability. Many imams cannot speak in English. Some imams don't have knowledge of the contextual society. And also the community elders and other adults, we have to befriend our young people. We have to work with young people. So there should be multiple approaches of befriending them, working with them, giving them the positive challenges, and the message of wasatiyya religion. Siratul Mustaqim, that means straight path. And the wasatiyya, as I mentioned in one of the Quranic verses in Surah Baqarah, that probably 5% or 10% on the right, extreme liberals, those who do not want to come near Islam, and 5 or 10% who are extreme rigid. Apart from the 90% of Muslims, in my opinion, are within the wasatiyya. But the problem is, wasatiyya Muslims, wasatiyya means middle part Muslims, they are not active. Many of them don't have knowledge, they are not proactive, and those who have knowledge and understanding, they are not dealing with young people, the issues, the challenges, there are collective weaknesses. That's another topic. So for me, leaving physics and coming to the world of community work one is dealing with parents and children, other thing is dealing with mosque situation. If only our mosques become the hub of community where young people are not only allowed, they feel valued in the mosques, then they will cling to the mosque. In my 2006 responsibility, I traveled around 24 cities of England, cities and towns in England in 2006, within 5 weeks. And I saw 1 or 2 mosques somewhere north in England. There is a big notice written, children under the age of 7 are not allowed into the mosque. Can you imagine? Our Prophet ﷺ, leader of humanity, our leader, when he used to pray in Masjid al-Nabawi, he was leading prayer. He occasionally delayed his sujood, sajda. Why? Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, why did you delay your prayer, sajda? He responded that his 2 grandchildren were playing on his back. So he is the leader of humanity. He is our model. So where is this model gone when children are not even allowed into the mosque under the certain age? If they don't come into the mosque, where would they go? Also, where is our mosque that doesn't cater for women? If they don't come to the mosque, they will have to go to the shopping area or market, because they need their own society as well. And during Prophet ﷺ's life, Sahaba time, women used to come and pray behind men. Umar didn't want that. One means he said that that's not safe, in the, especially Fajr, because Fajr is prayed when there is darkness. He wanted that women should not be allowed. Rasulullah, don't stop them. So this is the message that Prophet ﷺ, our leader, best in humanity, taught us. Sometimes we try to become better religious people than him, and in the name of security and all sorts of things. So at the end of the day, we have to take our responsibility to educate our children. And only mom and dad and the mosque and community leaders, if they work together, they can help, inshallah.